Now, Malaysia reported the rise in coronavirus cases. We have an update coming in from Ruby Tinawing, joining us live from our EBC Malaysia Bureau. Ruby, good afternoon.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you well, Ruby. How are you?
Yes, we're good. We are still on lockdown. We work from home and still no class in the entire Malaysia. So I'm going to give you some updates of what's going on, development in the country.
Please do,
as
yes.
Malaysia continue to fight COVID-19 virus. So as of now, Kuala Lumpur is actually badly hit by COVID-19, and actually the government has identified 4 locations in the federal territory, and they tag it as red zones. Those places are the Lembah Pantai Parliamentary Constituency, Titiwangsa, Kepong, and Cheras. Now, in this area of, which is they tag as a red zone area in Kuala Lumpur, the federal government has deployed 5,000 enforcers. That includes 1,413 members of the Malaysian Armed Forces, 1,500 policemen, operating in 3 shifts, just to make sure that the 2-week-long restriction, our partial lockdown or the movement restriction order is strictly implemented. Now, they also deployed, in addition to that, 1,500 enforcement officers from Kuala Lumpur City Council. So they are guarding all the entrance and exit in these red zones in Kuala Lumpur, just to make sure that no people goes out and no one actually come in unnecessarily. Now, with addition to that, few days back, the number of roadblocks around the Kuala Lumpur area is only 40, but with the deployment of additional enforcers, now it has increased to 58. And also, part of the announcement made of the Prime Minister yesterday was the likelihood of extending the partial lockdown of Malaysia nationwide to probably till end of April. And many experts has actually agreed to that. They were thinking that Malaysia need to have this movement control order for at least 6 consecutive weeks. 6 consecutive weeks. The initial order is 14 days or 2 weeks. So if that happens, we will be on a lockdown for another month, right? Another month working from home. Most likely children will have to study from home, and there will be a lot of changes here and there. The reason being is because they were worried that the increase of the COVID cases will continue to occur if they will not impose such, because according to them, the 14 days lockdown is actually inadequate. It's not enough. We see decline in those infected cases. However, they still need to trace, because there was this case where 16,000 people gathered for this Muslim gathering. It's a religious gathering a few days back, and many of those people were still not being tested, because most of the COVID-19 cases actually came from those people who attended that event. So the government is hoping that they can actually have enough time to really discover, really work out on, finding a way to test those people, those thousands of people. There's at least 14,000 Malaysians, 14,500 Malaysians who attended that gathering. And the intention is to actually control the further increase of infection. Now, in Sabah, there's actually they recorded 169 positive COVID cases as of yesterday. And 87 of them out of 169 were related to the string petaling mosque tabligh gathering, or that religious gathering. And Sabah is another state from Malaysia, and here it's probably 2.5 hour flight to reach Sabah. Now, out of the 87 cases, 14 48 of them rather are actually from Tawau. That's the highest recorded COVID cases in Sabah, followed by Lahad-Datu, 34 cases, and Kota Kinabalu, 24 cases. So what the government did, they have they set up 12 quarantine centers operating in the state of Sabah to contain those people who are infected and those who are suspected to have the COVID-19 virus. So those 12 quarantine centers were spread out in different districts in the Sabah state. Meanwhile, also in terms of public transport, because the public transport are still operational here, there's a strict ruling of social distancing. So they are limiting, the number of passengers. For example, in those train LRTs, so they make sure that you sit at least 1 meter apart. So social distancing, not only in public transport, but also in supermarket and hypermarket. And you realize that that also is being imposed in any of the public places, like, those where, let's say, pharmacy, hospitals, any government agency, even post office and other places, social distancing. Now, the restricted movement is still active in terms of like one person per household is allowed to go out to buy all the essentials. That one is still being implemented strictly up until now, and there's no change. There are random checks everywhere. Some of the enforcers are inside the supermarkets. Some of them are inside the pharmacies. Some of them are guarding those public places to make sure that people do not necessarily gather. And those passengers, like let's say you go out, bring your family along, suddenly you will be stopped because you need to explain to them why are you traveling like more than one person, why it has to be two, why it has to be three. And then they will ask for a lot of things. And that is within the state itself. If you're planning to go outside your state, then there's additional explanation that you need to actually give, because we are certainly not allowed to go out of our own state or encourage other people to come in as well. So certainly in Malaysia, the use of social networking is very, very much high at this point. Like all social networking sites, the use of WhatsApp call, that's quite popular here though, and Skype, WebEx, Zoom, all those sort of things are being utilized not only by education institutions, but also work or at work. Yes, we normally conduct meeting online, meeting up our clients and even students attending classes online. Now, there are other things as well that being imposed here. One thing that is good is Malaysia actually now is trying very hard to increase the amount of, their target to test as much as possible. Now they try to increase testing to 16,500 daily. That is their target set by the health ministry here, because what they wanted is to really get this done while the lockdown is in effect, right? So they suspect, and I think that is still the same belief up until now, that most of the infections are, or those infected patients were from those who attended the tabligh gathering, or that religious gathering 2 weeks ago. And in this, in relation to this, Malaysia's number of deaths remains to be like 4 new deaths. That is, although the number seems to be low, but that is still alarming. Infection rise to 1,518. Yeah, 1,518. So with this new cases, new infection as of yesterday was recorded as 212. 212. So everyone, including the local government, is encouraging every single resident to just stay at home if they have nothing else to do outside. Unless it's really necessary, do not go out. So they are not stopping us from going out to buy your essentials, but they are limiting contacts with other people. This is some people may view this as a bit strict rule, but I think it's for the benefit of everybody. And there's the positive side of positive effect of this. For instance, now you get to actually have lunch or breakfast, lunch, dinner with the family. So you able to cook together, you able to watch TV together, you able to, like talk about a lot of things, even washing clothes. Now it's a family affair, no? And in fact, there are many, like here, what is getting popular is the a lot of children have started to create your YouTube channel, and just recording what do they do at home, and sharing their pets, like how do they actually take care of their pets, and then what do they do the whole day. A lot of home schooling is happening. One thing good is the communication is, although we use technology, but I think communication among family members is a lot higher now, or more frequent now. That brings everyone together. Right? That brings everyone together. And although technology is there, the absence of human touch is still there, but I think that means a lot to everyone, that they see each other on a video like this, being able to say hi, hello, and catch up of what is going on. I think that is a positive note that we can share to everybody. Alma?
Yes, Ruby, may I ask you something? Now, I know that Malaysia had a kind of a political turmoil back in February with the collapse of the government of former Prime Minister Dr. Mohammed Mahathir, right? And then
Yes,
this
right.
was the and then a crucial decision in awarding the prime ministership to Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, now the Prime Minister of Malaysia, right? And now, in addition to that, there is this threat of the contagious coronavirus cases going on around the world, especially in Malaysia now. How is this affecting the citizens of Malaysia, do you think?
Okay, I think, believe it or not, the issue on the political aspect, or whatever is going on prior to the outbreak was put behind the, like everybody is so focused, working together on, how to resolve this issue. Malaysians generally are happy with whatever the new government is implementing. Of course, earlier on, there was some resistance to the lockdown. There were, because before Malaysia announced the partial lockdown, Singapore was the one that that was really highlighted in the news, and they have very strict ruling to actually contain the virus and so on. And then all of a sudden, Malaysia made the announcement that we will go on partial lockdown. So the resistance and you know the that kind of reaction was only for a while, but then Malaysians have started to understand the reason behind it and why is it necessary. So generally speaking, majority of the Malaysian and also all the foreigners who are staying in this country are complying with the whatever ruling or whatever guidelines the government is giving right now. So no political discussions. You won't see that in newspaper. There may be you know, a small section in the newspaper that talk about one party saying something and so on, but no one really is talking about it at this point in time. Alma?
All right. Thank you very much, Ruby. Very insightful, very informative. Please stay safe and give us more updates as the days come along.
All right. From Malaysia Bureau, this is Ruby Tinawin, and we live in interesting times.